Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about what to do if you've got bad credit. Maybe you've got an IVA, maybe you've got some CCJs, maybe you've got defaults on payments, or maybe you're just in arrears with some of your payments right now and you desperately need either to remortgage your property or to get a new mortgage. Well, you may have been told that it's not possible, but it is. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can get a mortgage, how you can improve your chances to get a mortgage in this video, and what types of lenders you need to be looking for, because it's not going to be your normal NatWest, HSBC and people like that. So before we jump into this, as always, if you haven't done already, do subscribe to the channel over there and hit the bell notification. Every day we bring new property investment, property news and all that stuff. So it's a great reason to subscribe. And while you're here, smash like, tick or like, do something to that like button. That really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. I want to get more people knowing about this content. So you doing that will really help get the message out there. So let's talk about mortgages. Look, is it going to be easy to get a mortgage with bad credit? No. Is it possible? 100% yes. How do I know? Because I've had a failed business in the past, and at that time I had £50,000 in personal debt and I was still able to get mortgages. So you can too. So I want to talk about what you need to do to get this all sorted and how you can get this moving in the right direction. Now, the first thing you can do to improve your chances is to give the bank less risk. So if you could get them either a 15% deposit, or if you're remortgaging, 15% equity, that is going to make more lenders available to you. If you've got less than that, doesn't still rule you out, but that will put you in a much better position, because if you're a lender, you want to reduce your risk. So if someone wants to buy a 100 grand house and there's 15 grand equity in there, if you did have to repossess the house, hopefully you don't, but if you did have to repossess the house, you're likely to get all your 85 grand back that you lent that person. So that reduces risk, and that's what banks are all about. It's all about reducing risk for the bank. Now, lots of different things could cause you to have bad credit rating. So it could be defaults. So a default is where you haven't paid the same lender. Could be a payday loan, could be a mobile phone, could be a broadband provider. You haven't paid the same person multiple times, normally for 3 months. They've given you warnings, they said you need to get up to date, and you haven't. Now, that then puts something called a default on your credit rating, and that's not good. That's bad news. And so anytime that you are struggling to make payments, try and make sure that you don't get to the default stage if possible. Maybe pay someone else late to make sure that other lender over there doesn't put you in a default position. So that is important if you can. Now, if you get defaults, you can still deal with it. They will still lend you money. So there are still lenders that will lend you money. CCJs, county court judgments. Now, they also are not great. That means it's got worse than a default. It means you didn't pay them for 3 months, then they've taken you to court. They put a CCJ against you. Now, some people get CCJs for them for tiny little amounts. I had one, you might have a similar story to this. I had one before for a mobile phone that I'd cancelled. I didn't use that mobile phone anymore. I had a new provider. I don't recall getting any bill saying I still owed them money. They took a CCJ against me. I didn't even know about it at all. I didn't even get the court things or anything. And so I had a CCJ. Other people have had similar scenarios, and it could be for just a tiny amount. So if you have a CCJ, first and foremost, the best thing to do is to try and pay down what you owe, because then it will show as satisfied. That's important if you can do that. So let's just say you didn't pay your broadband bill, they took you to court, you got your CCJ, you owe them 100 quid. Go to that broadband provider, pay them off, make sure they mark it as satisfied, and that will improve your chances of getting a mortgage. Next is if you've got lots of debt. That definitely is not great, but if you can show that you're coping with that debt, if you're servicing the debt, then they can be fairly happy in that scenario, and that won't stop you getting one. Next is if you go into an IVA. So that is not bankruptcy, but it's a step before bankruptcy. Lots of people have these things. Again, it shows that you've got some responsibility, that you've decided to deal with it and you are moving in the right direction. There are lenders that will lend you with an IVA. So here's what you need to do with all of these scenarios here is start paying down this debt, right? Just show that you're willing to do that. Here's what I did. Now, when I was in 50 grand of debt, I went to the lenders. I said, look, I can't afford this. I sent them my income and expenditure. My business had just failed, I had no income. I said, what I can do is just pay you £1 per month. That froze the interest, so the debt isn't going up anymore. It stopped me showing as in default because I was paying a monthly payment to credit cards or whatever it was back then, right? So you're making a monthly payment, and then what you can do is they'll offer you discounts. So let's just say you owe a credit card £1,000. If you're paying them a pound a month and you keep doing that, they will send you letters saying, look, if you want a 50% discount, give us 500 quid, we'll write off the other 500 quid. That happens, and that will clear the debt, and that will show as settled. That is a big improvement on your credit rating. So that can help. So you can move things in the right direction there. But even if you can't get there quick enough because you need a mortgage now, what you just need to do is just come up with some sort of payment plan. Make sure you're paying these debts. Regular payments are important. That's what needs to be done. So that is important, that you're starting to clear this debt down. Sell some stuff on eBay. Most people have £1 grand of stuff in their house that they could sell on eBay to just get some money to pay this stuff down. That's important. Now, if you do get offered a mortgage, there are some pitfalls. It will be higher interest. Now, not as much as you think. It's not going to be as much as you think. So average rate, well, there's rates at the moment around 5%. You might get offered a rate at 6.5%, right? So it's not as bad as you think. You're not going to be getting 10%, 15% interest rate. It's a little smidge above because there's more risk. What they're more concerned about is there's some equity in that property to give them some security. That's important to the lender. Now, can you go and get these deals on Money Supermarket, go compare with a high street bank? No, you must use a broker, right? Brokers have access to all types of mortgages that you can't get elsewhere. If you go into your high street bank, they will not deal with someone that has got bad credit, CCJs, defaults, IVAs, this sort of stuff. They're not interested. They're not the lenders that are going to lend to you. There are other smaller banks that you probably never heard of that are just as good that will offer you money. Brokers have access to those people, and that is where you're going to find this kind of deal. Because maybe you've got the money for a deposit, but you still got bad credit. Maybe you cleared all of this stuff, but you haven't, you still got the aftermath of it. Because when you get a CCJ, it sticks on your account for 5 or 6 years, right? Next is to check your credit file. The best site to do that is called Check My File. Check My File. It's like 10 quid, something like that, maybe less, can't remember. I use it every single month. And you go on there and you just look at your credit report and see what's wrong with it. Maybe you do have a CCJ that you didn't know about, like I have had previously. And you can then contact them. You can see, I owe Vodafone 30 quid. That's an easy CCJ to get off of your record. You go to Vodafone, you say, look, I owe you 30 quid. You give me a CCJ. I'll pay you the 30 quid if you mark it as satisfied on your credit report. That's going to improve that. Next, you can go on there and check, are you on the electoral roll? That's important as well. And so these are things that you can do to improve your score. Check that you're on the electoral roll. You can register with your local council for free. That means that you're trackable. So if someone's going to lend you tens of thousands of pounds, they want to know where you live. so they can find you if you owe them the money. Being on the electoral roll just gives them a little bit more confidence. So that's an easy way to improve it. Then what you need to do is look at which things are impacting you the most and fix those first. So Check My File is a great little tool. Get yourself on the electoral roll. And the best piece of advice on this video is to go to a broker. You'll be surprised. You might think you can't get a mortgage, but I'm pretty confident you can when you go with the right broker. Find a broker locally to you that has whole market deals, and that will really improve your chances of getting a new mortgage. Do comment with any questions or opinions or thoughts below. Do smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. That really helps me. Do check out all the other content on my channel, including this video right here.